How much did your service define you today? How much impact has it had on your life?
I think it did a great deal for me. It taught me that I couldn't do it alone. It told me I had to depend and work with others. Because when you're fighting, if you survive, it's probably because somebody that didn't survive. The division I served in before the war was over, had over 100% casualties. You're getting replacements every day. So if I came back, somebody didn't come back. So you learn that you have to you have to work with others. I think it certainly changed my opinion when I went into management. I think I did a better job of delegating than many others and was probably more successful because of it. And maybe I was a little liberal in my thoughts toward my fellow man, I don't know. Because we all make mistakes. We all do things that we sometimes without thinking. We didn't think it was a mistake, it turned out it was. So I could change my attitude. Maybe not, I don't know, I guess I was always halfway decent. I was kind of wild.
What's the most important thing for students today to understand about that time period?
First of all, I think too many veterans refuse to talk about it, and it is a part of our history. We should talk about it. And I think, unfortunately, they're critical of the younger generation. When the younger generation really does want to know, I have found that the younger people do really want to know. And I think that the fact that we don't share it. And I think the second part is that there's no way, there's no book, no movie, no lecture that can tell you what it's really like when you're faced with your life, not once, but every day, maybe every hour. Sometimes there are times when you're in the battles, you're hoping to live another hour. Because you figure by that time, if you get through this battle or this portion of the battle, I'm going to be all right. And you see so many that don't. I don't think I ever saw a day in the 21. I was in Europe from June 44 to July, but the war ended May 8th, 45. I can't remember a day that we didn't have somebody who was wounded or killed or something. We faced it every year. Here we faced it a couple of times in a lifetime, maybe 3 or 4 times. And so I don't know, is really any way you can relate this to the other generation. You can tell them, hope you can share it. I really believe that there's any way of relating. I don't think there's any. They came out with a movie called Saving Private Ryan. And one of my children was with me on a look, and he said, "Dad, I'll ask you a question." Go ahead. Is it really that bad? I said, "No, Kim, it's 10 times worse." He said, "What?" You said, "I saw the movie. I couldn't believe it." I said, "It's way worse than that." Because you don't see the sounds, you don't hear the anguish or the pain. So you can't really relate too much of it, except that we don't want it to happen again.
What have your experiences been like working with students, and why do you think it's so important to talk about this and bring awareness to the students?
I think at first when I came home from the war, I didn't want to talk about it. Well, then I had children, and they found some stuff around the house, some awards I'd received and so forth, and some letters of commendation and so forth. They wanted to ask questions, and my father, I better answer them. Well, then I was in Tonawanda, New York, when I lived there. I got transferred a lot. The teacher called and said, your children told me this. Would you come to school and talk? Well, I guess yes, I would, because I felt if my kids ask it, then I should ask it. And I think if we don't ever want it to happen again, we ought to know something about it. If you're never going to avoid it by not talking about it. We got to get it out in the open.
Why is the military signing ceremony important, and how do you feel about having your name on it?
I'm honored by my name being on it because I think it's a wonderful program. I think it's we should never forget, better remember that less than 1% of our population is serving. We get into a real battle, they can protect us. So I think it's important to recognize those that are willing to do it. I consider it very important.
Now I have some questions about Bud Sprung, who's another name on the
He was our commander of our VFW for, I think, 17 or 18 years.
Do you know if he had any intentions of going into the military before he was, or did it just happen? Was he drafted?
Well, they had I don't know if his was it probably was, because most of them were. With the draft, when you were 18 years old, you registered for the draft. And they called your number, you went. Well, sometimes some people enlisted because they wanted to get into a certain branch of the service. Most of the draftees in those days went into the Army, although a few were shot in other places, but most of them were in the Army. So I had a younger brother, he jumped in. He was a little younger than me, but he went in the Navy in World War II because he didn't want to. After I seen what Bob was doing, I wanted to be part of that. So he went in the Navy. So but basically you go because you're going to have to go in cases like that. And Bud was, I'm sure, was not, because when it was over, he got out. If it was he planned it to be a career, he would have stayed. It's a good career. I'm not against it being a career. Don't misunderstand me. It wasn't for me, but it's not for a lot of people. But some people, it's a wonderful career.
I read that Bud earned Bronze Star Medal and 3 Bronze Battle Stars. Could you explain like how you earned things like that?
Bud got a Bronze Star, as I recollect. He served in Korea. I don't put the same emphasis on modern times. It's different. I think Korea was more like World War II. Then after that, it changed a lot. But Korea was not like World War II. It was difficult to get a medal. First of all, because of there's a large number of people serving, and secondly, because of the high casualties. I was lucky I received several awards. But there was people probably did more that got nothing, because the first officer who saw it either got seriously wounded or got killed. So it was never written up. Or he was in the heat of battle, and then when you got a break, he was tired or he beat up. He was writing letters that somebody lost their lives. A lot of them didn't get written up. They should have been. So I don't put the same emphasis. The fact that I was fortunate enough the guy that was there voted up, or I got it. But that doesn't mean others didn't do more. They did. I know that for a fact, so you have to be careful when you talk about medals. It's important, and I know it's important, but when you're in a big war, and even Korea was pretty large in war, so it wasn't as easy to get them. Now, of course, modern times they give a lot of medals because they're encouraged. Well, it's a volunteer service, and they're encouraging people to serve, so they make sure that they are recognized, and it's the same in business. Sometimes you get awards because you're encouraging people to do better. I understand. But in World War II, the amount of medals given compared to the amount of people served is a very small percentage. And it wasn't because they didn't do it. It's just that your casualties are so high all the time. It's the people see it often. I didn't mean to not do it. They couldn't.